Celebrity Buff here, and this is the season where it seems like a lot of movies from John Hughes is always being shown. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone, Home Alone 2, National Lampoon's Christmas, Miracle on 34th Street, and many, many, many more. So since this is the time of year where a lot of movies of John Hughes is being shown, I wanted to make a film about my top 7 favorite John Hughes movies, and tell why they're my favorite, and give a little explanation on what they are about. So here we go. Number 7, Home Alone 2. Now, Home Alone 2 really doesn't really have anything to do with Christmas, but the thing about Home Alone 2 is the first one has to do with Christmas, and we'll get into that in a minute. But when people watch the first one, it's like they always have to go and watch the second one. Now the second one was pretty good. I actually like the stunts and the traps in this one better than the first one, surprisingly. However, the movie doesn't even match with the title. It's called Home Alone, Lost in New York. He's not even home. He's not even alone, really. The people in the hotel that he's staying at always come in and check on him, and he always has to act like he's not alone in the room. I mean, yeah, he's alone in the room, but he's not alone like he was in the first one. The first one, there was no one there except the 2 thieves. In this one, people come and check in on him. They see if he's okay. They check to see if his father is really there, which then he displays his father as a doll with the recording.
This cat they talking about, I wonder who could it be? 'Cause I'm the heaviest cat you ever did see. When they see me walking down the street, none of the fellas want to speak. I'm hey, on the missing king of the cool jazz. Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly.
So technically he's not even alone. He's not even home. Yeah, he's lost in New York, but that's about it. It was pretty good for a John Hughes movie. Definitely a pretty good sequel. Most sequels, every time you see a new sequel or a movie that has a sequel, the sequel just sucks. Usually you know they made a sequel just for money. But Home Alone 2, even though the title doesn't match, actually wasn't bad. And actually was good on some parts. Funny, creative, better than Home Alone 3. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one. If you want to know, just look up some reviews. I'm sure you'll find tons. Let's just say that one actually made no sense. Number 6, Home Alone. Okay, now, this movie I watched a lot when I was a kid and growing up, and especially around Christmas, because, I mean, this is the time of year that it takes place in, around Christmas. And as a kid, it was definitely one of my favorites, but as you grow up, you look at some of the stuff that is hilarious. I mean, the part where he's dancing and he has all the dolls acting like they're moving and Harry and Marv are outside, and then he peeks out. I mean, how long do you think he was doing that for?
Come back tomorrow, maybe they'll be gone by then. We better get out of here before somebody sees us.
And how do you know that he saw Harry and Marv leave when he did? It doesn't really show that he saw Harry and Marv leave. He just shows him peeking out the window. I wonder what that would be like in real life.
Well, I danced all night. I don't see them there. It must have worked. Well, I'm exhausted from dancing all night. I'm going to bed. What was that? Oh, crap! It's the 2 robbers. They're here.
I was dancing all night. I thought it worked. I didn't see them when I looked out. Well, I guess I better put out all the traps now. Or should I call 911? Calling 911 would be the smart thing to do. But then we wouldn't have a movie. Well, at least it's not Home Alone 3. I guess I'll put the traps out. This was pretty good, especially for its time. It definitely is a classic to this day. One where when Christmas comes around, people always feel like they just have to put it in to give that Christmas spirit. Either for themselves, their family, their kids, or just to have on. This, for sure, is definitely a John Hughes classic. Number 5, National Lampoon's Vacation. Now, this is by far one of the funny ones. I mean, a lot of John Hughes movies are hilarious, but if you haven't seen this one, I definitely recommend it. A lot of women I have talked to said that their husbands are just as dumb as Clark Griswold, thinking they know everything, thinking they can do everything, and yet they just make everything even worse. Why do I have a feeling my wife is going to agree on this? But this one is an all-time classic of John Hughes. Basically, the Griswold, Clark Griswold, is a huge fan of Wally World, and they go through hell to get to it. They get in a crash.
Close the road, they put up big signs like this one.
Their tires are not even on straight when they recover from the crash. They pick up a mean old aunt who hates them all except her dog. She dies right in the car at the end. When she dies in the car, they almost get in another crash. Once they realize that she's dead, he falls asleep in the car after telling his wife he can go for another 20 miles. He falls asleep in the car and he's driving on the road asleep while everyone else is asleep. He has the hots for this one woman who's following them across the country. Not exactly following them, but coming across them. Going, I guess, the same direction as they are. And every time he sees her, he's always has the hots, trying to act like he's not a family man, like he's single. But in the end, he gets caught. When really, he could have just told her the truth from the beginning. Especially with his family right there.
Well, are you gonna go for it?
Here?
For starters, sure. Why not? Don't you swim?
How's the water?
Exhilarating.
And guess what, honey? This person here was here. Well, I didn't see this person, so I screamed. That's why I yelled. Can you excuse me?
If you have to go.
Well, I'd stay if I weren't married, but I am.
I know.
I hope I didn't spoil your evening.
No, it's been interesting.
Well, enjoy the rest of your trip.
You too.
And in the end, goes to Wally World and it's closed. This is good. I won't give out too many more spoilers, but if you want to see how it ends and what happens, this is pretty good. This is great. Definitely one of my all-time top 5 John Hughes movies. Number 4, Uncle Buck. Now, Uncle Buck is definitely a different kind of movie from the rest of John Hughes movies. Doesn't really have that nice, comforting, loving family like a lot of his movies. This one where pretty much the family, the whole family, hates the uncle. And the uncle doesn't know why. He's just himself. But yet, he is trying everything to prove himself to the family that he's a great uncle. The only ones that like him are the kids. Yet he doesn't know why everyone else hates him, especially the daughter and the mom. I wonder if it's having to do with drying the clothes on the fans. Or maybe microwaving the clothes. could be a reason why someone may hate you. Really, this movie, it's just about how the uncle is just trying to do good for everyone, yet every time he tries to do good, people continue to hate him. And it's not his fault. It's just he's just trying to show everyone that he's a good guy. But everyone, from his sister-in-law to his niece, even his girlfriend, hate him. But yet, in the end, he always brings everyone back because they see what it was that he was doing. Yeah, he ditched them, but then they realize why he ditched them. It's not his fault. He just wants everyone to know that he's a good guy. Honestly, if you haven't seen this one, this definitely is a good John Hughes movie to watch. Number 3, The Breakfast Club. Okay, I actually was thinking about this, and my cousin actually had a good point. He showed me what The Breakfast Club would look like today if they recreated The Breakfast Club movie. And I say I have to agree. What do you all think? This was The Breakfast Club back in 1985. If they recreated the movie, this would be The Breakfast Club today. You agree? I think so. Basically, this movie really was no point to it. Basically just a movie about kids that got in trouble and had to spend their Saturday in detention. This movie was not for everyone, but basically if you want a movie where you can relate, you've been in detention, you know what it's like, and you wish detention was a certain way, this is the movie for you. Basically, teens that are in detention, they have to sit there for about an hour and a half. However, they managed to dance, they managed to get high. Yeah, right? No wonder why it became legal in Colorado. They were promoting it in 1985. Thank you, John Hughes. But all in all, it was actually pretty good and it had its funny moments. I think really the message of this is how boring detention is and what everybody wishes they could do in detention. If you haven't seen this and you have a day where you're absolutely doing nothing and you can't find anything to watch, put The Breakfast Club on. Was it the best of John Hughes? No, but it definitely wasn't the worst. Number 2, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now, I don't know anyone that hasn't tried pulling a Ferris Bueller act, acting like they are sick, even putting props on to fool their parents or sisters or brothers to make it look like they're sick. And then when their parents leave for work, they call their boyfriends, girlfriends, best friend and say, okay, let's party or let's go do something fun. But they gotta make sure they're home before their parents come back. That's pretty much Ferris Bueller. Now, I'm not saying everyone has done this, but I know a lot of people have done this.
Grace!
Look, I can give you every assurance, Mr. Rooney, that Ferris is home and he is very ill. In fact, I debated whether or not I should even leave him.
Grace!
This movie definitely fits in the category of number 2 because basically you don't know what's going to happen next. You know Ferris Bueller is going to do something. You know he's going to do something he shouldn't be doing. And he gets his girlfriend and his best friend involved. Yet, what they're going to be doing next, what's going to happen next,
Forget it.
who they will come across,
What's over there?
or what will go out the window. You absolutely have no prediction. And I like that in a movie. A movie where you're sitting there and you have no prediction. A lot of times I'm watching movies and I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen. And then it happens. This movie, you watch it the first time, you have no idea. It's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And his day off, anything can go. And that's exactly what this movie does. Anything. And here are some honorable mentions. And for the number 1, my favorite John Hughes movie. Another reason why around this time people start watching a lot of John Hughes movies, or why it comes on TV. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now this movie takes place in Thanksgiving. Again, another time on why it starts showing on TV, or people start watching it around this time, either in Thanksgiving and sometimes Christmas, but either way, it fits to play it around this time. Basically, Steve Martin is trying to get home and everything goes wrong for him. The train breaks down, the plane can't land in Chicago, the car goes on fire. He's traveling with John Candy, who is trying to be a good guy, trying to be a good friend, trying to get him home, and trying to show that he can help him get him home, but everything that happens is his fault most of the time. Not all the time. I mean, it wasn't his fault the train broke down or the flight couldn't make it to Chicago, but it was his fault that the car blew up in flames.
Are you mad at me?
And it was his fault that they almost got into a wreck. I don't know, I think there's a lot of other stuff I can keep going on. John Candy is just trying to show that he's a good guy and that he wants to help, but the more he helps and tries, the more he makes the situation worse. They even do try to separate. Steve Martin tells them that they should go their own way, but in the end they always seem to cross paths again, knowing that it's fate that they have to travel together, whether they like to or not. This one was hilarious. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong. And all he does is he wants to go home for Thanksgiving to his family. This, by far, is probably the best one of John Hughes, I think. If you agree, disagree, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I'm Celebrity Buff. I'll be back with another celebrity.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.